You and Eminem had a song called Off the Wall.
Yeah.
How did that particular song come together?
It was for a soundtrack. It was for, I forgot, it was for the Def Jam movie.
It was for Nutty Professor 2, the Clumps.
Yes, it was, Nutty Professor 2. And
Okay.
I don't know, they needed a song, and Eminem was bananas at the time, and I was bananas at the time, and they just said, yo, we got to get these two together. And I went out to Detroit, and I sat in the studio with M, and it was just like a fucking tornado in that bitch of brainstorming, because, you know, we sat down and wrote the rhymes right there, you know, and we was just brainstorming, and then when we finished the brainstorming, then it was time to lay the shit, and yeah, it was nuts. We was going at it. We was definitely going at it. At the end of the day, you know, after that, I continued to go out there. Like, you know, I used to go to M House, big up the Proof, R.I.P. Proof, rest in peace Proof. Proof used to pick me up from the airport all the time, make sure I was straight. So yeah, it just built another relationship with a dude who I respect in the game, Eminem, and the whole D12 family.
I mean, a lot of times when you see these types of collabs, especially on soundtracks, like the people don't actually work on it together. It's like, you know, the Pro Tools get sent, you do your verse, someone else puts it together, the people never even meet. You know,
Yeah.
but you guys actually worked on it together.
Yeah. Well, that was us. You got to understand, like, you know, I'm sure you do. You from our era. You know, that was the only way we communicated. You wanted to see us, you had to come to the record store. You had to come to our show. Either you seen us on MTV or BET. BET wasn't even popping off too much popular back then. You had Radio Music Box, Video Music Box, MTV, BET circled in. There was only 3 channels you could see us at. So yeah, you had to be more communicative back in the day. And that even played a role with the artists, not just from artist to fan, but from artist to artist. We didn't have the big emails where you could send files because it wasn't no files. We was on 24 track, you know, and that reel was big as fuck. And yeah, it used to be shipped, but it was like a real heavy shipment of reels. And usually the kind of communicative platform we built back then was you go to that person's studio and y'all sit down and create. And y'all make that record right there. There wasn't no, you send me the reel, and I'm gonna take the reel here, load it up on my shit, and load that big 24-track reel up and try to drop vocals, and then I'm gonna send that reel back to you. Nah, it wasn't that. We rather pay for the plane ticket to where you at, and we sit there and create. That was how our era ran, you know, more communicative.
So Eminem has a history of killing people on songs. Like, you know, Renegade is one of those songs where most people feel that Eminem got Jay-Z on that song. On the song that you did together with Eminem, Off the Wall, who do you think got it, from your opinion?
For me and Eminem,
Yeah.
we both had our moments. But, you know, I know I could have been probably a slight underdog because Eminem was new, and I was in my prime, but I was like a mid-vet. But no, on that record, we was going in. And I listened to it like, you know, because I'm very modest. I try to give the benefit of the doubt to myself, like, you know, all right, maybe I could have did better, but nah, I listened to that shit and I was like, nah, he had this style and I had the street style, just, you know, because Eminem was, you know, what he talks about, he's all over the place. And me, how I place my shit far as, you know, being more urban and, you know, ghetto, I place my shit right just to keep up with him. And I listened to it and we was both getting it in. We was getting it in. I wasn't disappointed at all. It was a good record. It was a good record.
Right, and Eminem named you as one of his top all-time rappers.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's one of my top too. And a lot of people was mad at me too for that, like saying Eminem is like one of my top, But yeah, I can say that because, not because of culture related or race related, is because of his work ethics. I like his work ethics. Album for album, he was banging. I don't care about the Grammys. I don't care about all the awards he won. His dedication, his hard work, his seriousness on every album, very competitive. I wasn't disappointed. He's just like me, just like you said in my era with my 3 albums, how I was dropping. His fucking first 6 or 7 albums, he was dropping them bitches. And whether we heard of one of them, maybe not as popular as the next one, it still did numbers. And yeah, we can blame it on his race. Yes, the white race it supported him more. Yeah, yes, he's white, yes. But is he nice? Yes. Do he get respect by the black culture and any other culture, Chinese, Mexican? Yes, because he's nice. So yes, he's one of my top, just like I am his. I think I'm one of his top in the more of how I MC and the aggressiveness I brought to hip hop. I think that's what he respects more of too, the aggressiveness I brought, or what I talked about and how much I ain't give a fuck. And plus, Eminem knows my camp too, Outsiders. He's been in Newark. He's been in Newark before he came out, so he know.
So, I mean, you guys did that one song together and you continued your relationship, but you guys didn't have any more songs together.
I know. I don't know why. And it wasn't like, I mean, he progressively, blew up. And it wasn't it wasn't never, I would say, a level of us fucking with each other. Like, he's here and I'm a vet here. It was more of, we just never really just communicated and sat down and chopped it, because we felt we already did it. We did it at our early ages, like, when it was really demanded, and at that time it was demanded too. But it was just more of a communicative thing. And I've seen Eminem. I talked to Eminem. I'm very close to the D12 crew. Big up to D12. Big up to everybody. The whole fucking Detroit area. But we just never sat down. That was it. But I bet you if I was to call the motherfucker right now, like, we need to do this joint. Make the beat. Matter of fact, he did a beat for my album. It's called it didn't never make the album. It's called I See Dead People. And Eminem produced that track, but it never came out. And all my Redman fans, they know it. It's some underground shit that never came out. And I'm about to put that shit out too with a master and a mix on it, so y'all stay tuned for that. But he produced something for me when I asked him. So if I was to ask him now, like, yo, stir a beat up, put me on it, let's go shock the world. He'll do it just on the strength of the relationship that we have through the crew and Proof and everybody from us doing that song before.
Right. It seemed like throughout your career, you've never really been starstruck. Like I remember, you talking on the Breakfast Club about how you got to LA and Dr. Dre wanted you to come to the studio, but you had just gotten off a long ass flight, so you didn't do it. No. It was that, but it was for, I think, Dr. Dre got the Beats Radio thing. And I was, I think he wanted me to come up there to lay something for the Beats Radio, like maybe a freestyle or something for the Beats Radio. And come on, Dr. Dre, I would have did it. And Dr. Dre, I don't get starstruck over Dr. Dre because I've seen Dre plenty of times and I know Dre. Like, we all family from the 90s. That shit is real. Like, even though they was way over there, we're still family. If I come over there, I need something. If I really need, I got to see Dre. They're going to get me to Dre. Yo, what you need, Doc? What's going on? But it was more of I just got the fuck off stage. I was on stage a night, like maybe 12 hours ago. I was just on stage in Paris, on stage, and I didn't sleep the whole flight. I slept maybe the last 2 hours of the flight. And that flight from out there out to LA is long as hell.
And I just literally got off the plane, caught the cab and shit to Family House in LA. And I literally just sat down and got the call and shit. And like, yo, what's good? You out here? Yo, come to the studio. And when I'm going to fuck with Dre, I like to be prepared and on point. I don't want to be up in that bitch like this, tired, listening to a beat, trying to write, being lazy. If I'm going to see the great Dr. Dre, I'm going in that bitch off some sativa bud with my fucking phone and my pad, my earphones, and ready to work, nigga. He going to have to fucking get a... Jesus going to have to come off the cross to get me the fuck out that studio if I'm fucking with Dre up in that bitch. So I like to be geared up. You know, he fucking with Eminem and 50 Cent and you know, he big time. I gotta go in there like this. Like, Dre, what's good, sir? We gonna do this beat. I already got a rhyme to it. Put me in the motherfucking booth.
What do you think about the whole situation?
Man, my point of view, man, I really feel like they tried to paint a bad picture on my brother and tried to make him look like he was a hater. It was some envy, jealousy type shit, you know what I'm saying? And actuality, you know what I'm saying? Bro been having this shit, man. He been in the condo.
I got my hat on and I had my Coke bottles up under my hat. And I'm sitting at the dinner table like an asshole with the hat on, knowing she gonna tell me to take it off. And I'm just sitting there just gulping down, you know, in my zone. She said, take that goddamn hat off at the dinner table. I'm like, come on, mom. Coke everywhere.